So after you've kind of written about, well, this is my basic idea for the project, so project overview, you're going to want to do some research into what exists already. Your existing app research is crucial because it lays the foundation for the rest of the coursework, and it kind of gives you an indication of, well, if I was going to produce a really good project, what might that project actually look like and feel like and work like, okay? It's important that you actually do research this section and not just do something on top of your head, because there's a big difference in terms of what we're looking for in the marks between I state what I might be using to I've actually gone in depth into it. So we're going to look at what those two different ideas actually look like and feel like. So the mark scheme does say existing solutions plural, okay? Now, how I have always interpreted that is 2 at least. I think any more than 3 would be too much, and I think once you have 2, you can compare and contrast those 2 together, and that gives that nice kind of feel. I think sometimes 3 would be more suitable, but a minimum of 2, absolutely. Okay. You are going to be looking for something that's similar to yours. Now, it might be you are trying to maybe do a clone of something. So you might be, I don't know, you've got a temple run game and you want to make your own temple run game. Okay, cool, that's fine. Well, now you know exactly what you're going to be researching up. It might be that you're trying to do something completely new and something that no one's really done before. In that scenario, well, maybe you want to look at things which are similar, which maybe do part of what you want to do, or maybe are a bit like it, but not exactly. So your existing app research doesn't have to be a carbon copy of exactly what you want to do, as long as it is clearly related and we can pull out some kind of key features of that existing app to use in your app, then absolutely that's what we can go for. You might want to consider this if you was going to market this as a real app, as a competitor. So if I was going to release this app and I was going to market it, who's my main competitor? Who am I trying to get market share from? Okay, so kind of Dragon's Den style. So that's a way to think about it. Obviously, if there's any overlap with other applications, that's clearly, and if you've got something really clear in mind as an algorithm that you want to implement ultimately, has an app already kind of done something like that? Does it implement it? So I know, like pathfinding, for example, if you're going to use pathfinding in your application, can you think of another application that uses pathfinding? Okay, because that will kind of give you an indication of how you might want your feature to work. So let's unpick the high band statements for existing app research. Okay, research the problem in depth. Let's start off with that first. So whatever research you do, it does need to be in-depth. So in-depth does not mean half a paragraph. Okay, I mean, I've had plenty of students hand in half a paragraph in the past. What it means is you've actually looked at the app and looked at all the features that are relevant and you've described them. You've explained them, you've said how they work, you've gone into a bit more detail, maybe in the mechanics of how they work. You've not just simply said, okay, this app has a user interface, it allows you to play the game, blah, 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 blah. Okay, you've not given me detail. So depth means actually looking at each part of the application, which is relevant, and saying this is why it's relevant. So in depth is really important. Existing solutions, more than one. There's similar problems. Now, being selective in your choices. Now, you might want to make a game. So, cool. And then you choose 2 games. Cool. Is that existing app research? No. Okay. Why? Because are those games similar to yours? Okay. What's the purpose of those games? Okay. Games aren't just made. Games are made to be played. That little extra statement actually makes a big difference, because think about it. If I release a game and no one wants to play it, what's the point? Why would someone want to play my game? Okay, so if I was going to make a game like a temple run game, for example, what is it about that game would make people want to play it, and what make people want to come back to play it? So that kind of replayability idea. So really is, why is the game good, So whatever game genre you're trying to develop, what is it unique about that game genre? What's unique about why people want to play that game? And can you find existing apps which are giving that same kind of feeling? So rather than just simply picking two games which are in the same genre, actually two games which will have that same kind of outcome. Okay, so just being really careful in your selection of the app. So you're going to identify the key features of the app. So it says suitable approaches. What it really means is, well, your chosen application that you're looking at is solving a problem. Okay, that problem might be, I don't know, how to work out a Boolean algebra statement, or how to answer a floating point question, or it could be how to entertain someone for 10 minutes when they're on the train. So what problem are they trying to solve with that application or with that game? Okay, why do people want to use it? Once you know that, what makes it allow that to happen? So if I'm, again, going for a game, what makes it casual? Okay, if I'm aiming for a casual market, is it the fact that you can play it for 10 minutes and then put it down and it's not a big deal? Okay, if you play some games and play for 10 minutes, put it down, it is a big deal. So you're going to lose experience points, or you're going to not be able to finish a game, because some games might last hours. So what is it about the game? What features does that game have? What features does the application have which makes it suitable? And those are the ones you're going to write about. So example again. Let's think of a Temple Run game. Let's think about Temple Run. Why do people want to play it? Well, they want to get further in the game. Okay, why is it suitable for casual gamers? Because a single game, no matter how good you are, doesn't tend to last that long. Okay, so I don't know, 5 minutes. I'm not a Temple Run expert by any means, but maybe 5 minutes. You're playing a game. All right, done. Okay, so you can pick it up, play for 5 minutes, put it down, and then pick it up again. You can get a little bit further, can't you? Okay, because you got a bit better. Put it down, pick it up again. All got a bit further. So I've got a progress element to it. So one of the features of it is the fact that actually the games are short. Okay, that makes it suitable for a casual gamer. That actually you can get better at it. You know, skill makes a big difference in the game, and so there's that kind of element of replayability. I can get that a bit further. Some of the kind of clones of it will have things like as loot boxes and things like that. So what makes you come back to that game? What features make you come back? Okay, that again becomes reasons why people use it as a casual gamer. So you're going to be looking at the features. Why is it suitable for whatever you're aiming at? Hopefully that has kind of cleared that up. So you're going to be describing your application first. Okay, so let's say I'm doing a Bomberman clone, and obviously if I'm doing Bomberman clone, I'm going to be obviously using Bomberman as an example. So here's my explanation. Bomberman is a game where you can drop bombs to beat the other players. You win the game by being the last player standing. Okay, that's exactly what Bomberman is. You know, there's no argument there. But which band would that go into? It says research a problem, look at existing solutions to similar problems, identify some features. So I'm not identifying features yet, but have I described it? Have I looked at it in any depth whatsoever? No. So straight away, just starting off like that will give me the lower band. Why? Because there's absolutely no depth to it. All I've done is I've summarized it. We are not summarizing, we are going in depth on it. Okay, it's really important to understand that difference, because the biggest mistakes I see in existing app research is students just literally give me half a paragraph, or maybe even full paragraph, which tells me a very brief, vague overview of it. You want to go into depth. You want to say exactly why this game is good, what features of it, what are you trying to pull out from it. So if you maybe expand that one a little bit more, so what does in depth mean? So Bomberman is a game where you drop bombs to beat other players. You win the game by being the last player standing. That's what I said before. Bombs, when dropped, will detonate with flames that travel both vertically and horizontally. When a bomb is planted, there is a short delay before the bomb goes off. The number of bombs, the size of flames, and the other parameters are influenced by power-ups. Now this becomes a starting point of further description, because then I can go into those features. I can start to explain, well, what power-ups are there? Okay, how do they work? Which power-ups will I want to include? Do I even want to include power-ups? Okay, you see one, well, hopefully I'm going with this one, because now I've laid the kind of door open for actually talking about things in depth. Okay, so I've looked at it in more detail. Okay, so in depth just means more detail. One thing which really helps kind of clarify points is once you've kind of described all the features of the app, then just say, well, which are you going to include and why? You can do this in paragraphs and you do it as you're talking about it. I find it nice to have this as a table because what happens then is that we can easily refer back to it. So, for example, let's say one of the features was some walls are destructible in Bombman. Okay, cool. Well, later on when we're describing the features, we might have destructible walls as a feature. Okay, we then might have that as a success criteria. Now, what do I have then is a very clear path from research to description and justification to what a good app will look like, and then I will have that in my design, I'll have that in my interpretation, and just create this path all the way through your coursework, which is nicely laid out. So a little table makes a massive difference. Also forces you to think about justifications. So in this example, some walls are destructible. This allows the game map to start to expand, creating more strategy. It also allows players to get power-ups which are hidden in these walls. Okay, so why is it there? Well, there's a reason. Okay, why is it important for my app? That's the reason. Okay, I want a bit of strategy in my game. Okay, I want to be able to collect power-ups. Where are the power-ups? In the walls. Okay, so it's that reason. Screenshots do help as well because it requires you to be less waffly. So you can just refer back to a diagram. So you could say, oh, okay, here's a picture of the bomb blowing up. Okay, can you see how it works? So this only forms part of your research. Now, even though in the statement it says research the problem in depth, looking at existing solutions. If you actually read that carefully enough, it says research the problem in depth. Not by looking at anything like that, it just says looking at. So research can be other parts of it as well. So you can be researching the algorithms for this one, you can be researching maybe your stakeholders. So evidence of research can come from other things because we're researching the problem in depth, not researching the existing solutions in depth. We are describing them in depth, obviously, and we are pulling out those essential features, but actually we want to research the problem in depth, and this is just like part of that. So when we start looking at some of the other areas, I will be able to point out to you other opportunities for research. And from my experience, it is the features elements of it that requires the most research because you need to work out, well, how can I actually do this? And can I actually do it? Because if not, then it's going to be a very short project, isn't it? So I borrowed this idea of the OCR Facebook group, and I think it's an excellent idea. What you can do is create a development log as you're doing things. So when you make a significant change to your work, you can write down what you have added and the date you've added it. I can then, once I look at it, I can say I've checked it and marked it. This has a number of advantages. One, it allows you to create a story of what you have changed. So if you forgot, oh, did I do that or not? Well, you put it in the log, haven't you? It allows me to see, did you change it or not? Do I need to mark it again? Yes or no? One of the things when you are getting to a point where you've got 100 pages to mark, marking 100 pages over and over and over again, A, gets very, very boring very quickly, and B, is a waste of everybody's time. I can't mark things regularly enough if I have to do that every single time. So if you can identify exactly where I need to look at, then I can go straight there and check. Okay, so it does make a big difference for me from a marking perspective as well. Also, especially when you start to do work and then write it up, it allows you to work out what that is. So for example, if you are working on features and you're taking ages researching an algorithm because it's just really complicated, and you need to spend time maybe prototyping it out and trying things out and maybe understanding the code, it might be that you spend 4 or 5 hours doing that. Well, you can then write down what you have done. that allows me A, to see what you're doing, but B, also when you come to write it up, you can write up that then, can't you? Because you've written down the steps you're following through. Okay, so it allows you to kind of record all the work you are doing, and then enabling you to get that into your write-up, so then I can award you marks for it. Okay, I'm being evil because you know me. If it's not a log, I don't mark it. Okay, and I'm being strict on that one because development line will make a big difference when we actually are coding, especially when we're doing bug fixing and failed tests and things like that. That makes a difference, because one of the biggest problems I see from testing perspective, I know it's a bit way off yet, but the biggest mistake I see is people not having failed tests, people not having bug fixes, and not showing me how they fix the bug. And that's because what they've been doing is running the code, testing it as they build it, fixing the bugs as they build them, and then when it comes to testing, it all works, and then I say, well, where's the fail test? And they haven't got any, and they haven't got any bug fixes, low band or lower bands. It is super important to know the mark schemes as well. You can get this from the OCR specifications just near the back. I'll be sharing it in my feedback sheets to people. It's important to know what you're aiming at, especially if you're aiming for those top marks, to know what are they looking for and exactly what detail are they looking for. In order to get each band, you must complete the earlier band. So, as an example, if I wanted to get into band 6 to 8, okay, so band 3, and I managed to do this one, I managed to do this one, I managed to do this one, but I've not done those two, and I've done this one. Okay, it does not matter if I've done this one and this one and this one, this one and this one in band 6 to 8, because I've missed out these two. I've not done them. Well, that prevents me getting into the higher bands. There is some leeway. So if there's one tiny little bit you've missed out in the low band and everything else in the higher band is done, I can award instant bands. However, if there's too much missing, the answer is no. So it doesn't matter. So for example, let's say you've done such a super job on features, but your stakeholders suck. Well, you can't get top bands. There's no way, because you've missed out a big chunk of the information, or maybe you didn't do stakeholders at all because you didn't like doing that section for whatever reason. So this isn't necessarily a problem for analysis, but it's a big issue in design. Okay, so when we get to design, you'll see what I mean. Okay, so what am I expecting you guys to do? So I've kind of written out a bit more Englishy for you guys, what I'm expecting at each band. So band 1, well, this doesn't really come under band 1. Don't know why, but there you go. Band 2, written up the research at least 2 existing applications. So you've actually written up two apps. Band 3, you've listed features that can be used in your own app. So you've pulled out some of those features. That has to be a little bit of a discerning. So you can't just write any old gobbledygook there. You have to pick good features. It is detailed, and you do explain the key features of the application. So for example, if you pick a feature out using your app, but then don't describe it, well, that's not band 3. And describe approaches or features from the app that could be used in your app. So you've actually described them as well. So you've identified which ones you can use, you explain what that feature is, and then you've explained how it could be used in your app. And then for band 4, it's just that justification. So why have you selected it? So what is it? And describing in detail is band 3. Why you are picking it is band 4. Okay, you really should aim for band 4 on this one. I find analysis massively sets the tone for the rest of the project. If you do a really good job in analysis, then actually the rest of the project kind of starts to fit in place, because there's a lot of hard work in analysis, and if you put the hard work in early in the project, it really does pay dividends later on. So hopefully all that was useful. Please do watch this back as often as you want to get the extra detail if you miss any.